it came about in this fashion. I had signed another 7-year contract with Universal, and they undoubtedly had me in mind for the Virginian all along, but they never told us a word about it. They just assigned me to a few things here and there, no actual pictures, and then about 3 weeks later, they called me in and said, we're going to test you for a new version, a television version of the Virginian, and we're going to make a 90-minute show. It's never been done before with continuing characters. So 90-minute shows had always been Hallmark Hall of Fame or Playhouse 90 or things of that nature, but they had, just a temporary cast. The cast came on and did the show, and then they do a different story the next week. Well, they were proposing to do a 90-minute show with a 4 or 5 member permanent cast that would be in the shows every week. And logistically, it was impossible. No one had ever done it before, and you could not figure out how to make a show which takes 8 days to make and put them on the air every 5 days, because we only shot 5 days at that time. We were not shooting Saturday. When I first started in the picture business, they shot on Saturdays, but the unions got that rule changed so that everybody got 2 days off. We got Saturday and Sunday off, which was a blessing because there's no other time to study and to learn the lines of the future scripts that are coming along. So it required us many times, not all the time, but many times, to run 2 or 3 or 4 units, sometimes actually 5 different Virginians would be shooting on the lot at the same time. That's 5 different 90-minute films with the continuing characters working in all of them and the guest star cast working individually in each one of them. And some days I would have to go by limousine or horseback from one set to another and know my lines and say whatever scene I had to say and do it and hopefully get it in 1 or 2 takes, and then immediately leave that soundstage and go to one on the other side of the lot where I might have 2 lines, and then come back to a third set and do 10 pages of dialogue, and come back to another set outdoors and drive a herd of cattle around the corner. So, it made for a long, long, long day, from about 5 in the morning till 9 or 10 at night, usually, every day, 5 days a week. And I loved it, and if the show was still on, I'd be doing it today.
Good.
So it was never work. It was always a joy to go down there. I knew I was going to be working with the most high-powered people in the acting profession. We had Betty Davis and Joan Crawford and George C. Scott and Colleen Dewhurst and Ralph Bellamy and Robert Redford and Harrison Ford and just the list goes on and on. Every week we had somebody wonderful to work with. Burgess Meredith and, Vera Miles and just a wonderful array of actors and actresses that did such great work in that show. And that's the secret of the success of the Virginian is that we had a 90-minute format so our writers could write big, important, juicy guest star roles. And an actor will walk over broken glass to play a part they want to play. They would get these scripts and read them and say, I want to play that. And so they would come and play the Virginian. And it was a unique situation. Is that no one's ever had that many high-powered guest stars in a series in history. And we were just very fortunate that way, because when you have someone like Lee Marvin come on the set and work with you, your game has got to come. You've got to bring your A game, and you've got to bring your A-plus game. And then your A-plus game may not be good enough, so you have to lift your whole game by the bootstraps and do more and more and more intricate things in order to be able to balance Lee Marvin's power. To be able to be in the same scene with him, because he was immensely powerful and talented. And most of the people I worked with were. So, and of course we had Lee J. Cobb to start off with, and he had so much name recognition and power that NBC did not require us to make a pilot for that 90-minute show. We just went into production. We just started making pictures, and they stayed out of our way. And 9 years later, we were done. So it was a great ride.